Hey everyone, welcome to another round of Q&A with Matt K. I am Chris Stegall with Creme de la CRM, and I'm joined once again by Matt Kaufman. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Pretty well, pretty good. It's going good. I'm doing well.
Yes.
Um, and this is going to be a speedy run of these weekly sessions that we do, where we take questions from the audience, questions from the Salesforce community, and put Matt in the hot seat to troubleshoot without Google, and give you some insight into what it's like in the life of a Salesforce partner, a Salesforce troubleshooter, admin, dev, um, and see sort of how all those years of experience boil down into the decisions we make and the approaches we take to different problems. So, real quickly before we get started, I will ask folks to like and subscribe if you haven't already. There are a series of buttons just below the screen here that you can click that will send notifications to my inbox and make me happy. Also, it means that as soon as these videos go up, or videos about the new releases, videos about webinars, Salesforce events, you'll be the first to know. So do please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions that you'd like us to address in future episodes, feel free to drop them in the comments here or head over to go.mkp.dev/Q&A. And there's a little form there you can fill out and submit questions whenever you'd like. And now, without further ado, Matt, I have selected one about validation rules today. So let
Okay.
me throw it up on the screen here. Today's question comes from Talha, who asks, they have a requirement where they want to prevent users from adding account team members. They also have an automation on the back end that adds one account team member when an account is created. So the validation rule is preventing users from creating an account, because when they create the account, the automation also creates that team member, and the user is not allowed to do that as per the validation rule. So they want to know
Got
if they
it.
can add a condition to exclude accounts that were new or just created.
Okay. And I'm looking at this screen right now. It says today at 11:03. That was moments ago.
It's
So
11:11 a.m.
yeah. Okay. This is great. I think this is doable. Now, there's a lot of stuff on this screen. If you want to send me the link while I'm talking, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in this existing validation rule that I'm not going to replicate. For instance, like the profile names, I'm not going to go ahead and create all these profiles in my org. So we're going to kind of simulate this validation rule. I'm not going to recreate the whole thing. Although I guess I can include stuff because my system admin profile won't have that stuff. So I guess I could include all that. The only thing that's on here that I see that my org won't have is a create account teams field. So I can do that pretty quickly, and it looks like it's a checkbox. Do you want to share my screen?
Yeah, let me throw your screen up on the
Yeah.
stage here.
So,
There
so
we
I'm
go.
gonna run with this. I think this is doable. I actually have a possibly a simpler solution. Sometimes instead of actually having a validation rule to prevent someone to do something, I just hide the button from the screen. Obviously, that's not the same level of security, but you know, I usually am more concerned about accidental creation of records or accidental editing of records, and not a nefarious character. Because if they work at your company, hopefully they're following the rules, and they probably have signed an agreement saying that they would anyway. You don't necessarily have to like prevent something like this from happening. But let's see what we can do. So okay, so first. I got to start with this create account teams thing, which actually, now that I think about it, this might be the problem. This poster, Talha, doesn't really give enough information on this process that they have that runs behind the scenes, where it said that they have an automation. I don't know if it's a flow. I don't know when it runs, and I don't know if it's running as the user that edited the account. Created the account, right? And if it is, let's say that this automation is running as the user that creates the account, well, then it'll always fail because of this, right? So it may not be the is new condition that's the issue here. It may be, oh, that user doesn't have access. So okay, so let me now that I've kind of talked this through, let's go to the user object in my org, and I will zoom in a little, just so that you don't have to put on your glasses like I did. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry for jumping. Create account teams. It's called create account teams. Okay. And we're going to do a checkbox called create. But I think that's what's actually going on here. I think it's not about whether the record was just created. I think it's that the validation rule works. And unfortunately, it was set up in a way that it's going to always block. So create account teams. Here's the record. Come on. And sure, I'll just put it on everything. Normally, again, we do this in Sandbox and we deploy and we test and do all that stuff. But that's not why we're here today. So I am not going to do that. And now, actually, let's go back to it. Yeah, let's make sure account teams is actually turned on, because it may not be in this org. Yeah, see, it wasn't. So I'm going to enable this. Again, I would do this in a Sandbox. I would do a lot of testing. I would read the screen and all the warnings that come with it. And I would not check every checkbox. Add to, sure. But that's not why we're here today. So, okay, and now that I have that, let's go to Object Manager, Account Teams, Account Team Member, and I'm going to create this validation rule that was, oh, no, there we go. Okay, so new, I don't know, stop new records, or stop new team members on existing records. And I think that actually is the key there. I just said it while I was coming up with a name. Okay, and we'll hit save. And I just realized, oh, here we go. You can't add a team member to an existing account. And let's save. Okay, so this isn't going to run for me because my profile is system administrator. And so this is going to make it difficult to test. I could log in as another user. That's difficult to demo on a quick call. I may just change this and take out this one line here.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I just kind of want to make sure that I'm able to create an account team member. So let's come to this account, which is very zoomed in now. And here's account team. I'm going to go ahead and add team member, and I'm going to choose myself, and the role will be account manager. Hit save. Okay, so that does work. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to come back to the validation rule, and I'm just going to take away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it up here in the description. I love doing that because now I don't have to reference something else. I'm going to take away this part here that says it's okay if it's okay for system administrators to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It said, you know, system profile name is not equal to system administrator. So I'm going to take that away. And now when I hit save at the top, if I come back, all right, never mind. Great idea, didn't work, but smaller formulas it does. Now when I hit add team members, I should get an error. Okay, yeah, perfect. You can't add a team member to an existing account. Great. Okay. So I got an error because my user doesn't have the checkbox checked. This checkbox here, create account teams, and my profile is no longer in the list because I changed it to not include the system administrator profile. Okay. But this says and is new. Error condition. So when it's new, and this checkbox, that's kind of weird. Oh, the account team member is new. That's what it is. Not the account itself. The account team member is going to always be new. We know that.
Yeah.
So this comes back to what I was saying earlier. If the automation is running as the user who created the account, it's going to always fail. If the automation is running as a system administrator or the system, then it still might fail because I don't know if it's running as a system administrator, then it won't fail because the profile of the system administrator is there. If it's running as system, then system, I don't think necessarily has a profile or account teams, or it's, I guess it's running as the person who created it, maybe. Okay, so the question is, can we add a condition to exclude accounts that are new or were just created? Okay, so let's just see if we can do that, right? Like, I don't need to necessarily solve everything. Let's just see what are our options here. So we have no options. We have account team member. We don't have an option for the account. It's just not showing up. So it's not an option. That kind of answers that. The answer is no. Quick. That was a quick one. The answer is no. You cannot do that. You cannot. If this is going to be done with a validation rule, we cannot evaluate the account from an account team. It's kind of a gap, I would say. It needs to be logged as an idea, because other validation rules, I think we can go past just the record, but on this one we cannot. And so now we really have to figure out, okay, is there a better way? The better way is that automation should not be running as the user. Okay. So let's do that. I'm just going to quickly go to flows, and let's see if I can come up with a way to do this. So it's a new flow. It's going to be an auto-launched flow, or record-triggered flow. Yeah, record trigger. And we're going to say when an account is created, actions and related records. Yes. Do I need the asynchronous? I don't think so. And what do we want it to do? I'm just going to zoom in a little here. We want to create a record. So we're going to go ahead and create a record. It's going to be create account team member. Now remember, I have that error right now when it's running. So the record, create a record from these values, figuring out. Oh man, I am trigger. Okay, create a record from these. Use separate resources than literal values. Yeah, object, accounts, team member. Let's do this. And here we go. So the account ID is going to be the account record that was already in there. Where is it? Oh man, here it is, record, and it's going to be the ID. I should just hit the I key on my keyboard, and there it is. Okay, perfect. And then the field team member role is just going to be sure account manager. That doesn't matter. And then the field, the user ID is going to be. Can I choose my ID? Yeah, let's just choose my ID. There we go. Okay, so it's pretty easy, and we'll hit save, and we're going to call this insert team member on account save, something like that. And here is what I wanted to see. No, it's not here. Somewhere on here, I'm going to be able to specify how this should run. So this should right now fail. Because of that validation rule. And so if I come back to accounts, let's go ahead and cancel, and I'll go to accounts, and I'll hit new, and I'll just put test, and save. I should get an error message. Yes, perfect. Nice. Okay. Yes. And now the question is, can I get this to run as the system? Do I remember how to do it? Can it be done? Somewhere on here, there's a way to do it. I just have to remember where. And it's dangerous to do it too, because it means that the person that is doing this might be able to do something they normally couldn't. We could do it asynchronously, maybe. Let's try that. It's not up here, is it? No, this is where it was before. Maybe on a record triggered flow, you can't specify it. That could be it too. Someone at home is laughing because they know it off the top of their head. I don't know off the top of my head. What I'm going to do is copy this element. Actually, well, yeah, I should. There we go. Paste it. Let me delete and hit save as and save and activate. So now I won't see the error message because it's running asynchronously, which means that it's going to run right after I hit save. The question is, when it runs asynchronously, is it going to work? So I don't see the error message. If I hit related, I think an error happened behind the scenes. I didn't have the logs open. I should have. So I might do this again. Yeah, it didn't seem to work, which is also probably correct. Nope. I might need to do a search because I can't remember how to get a flow to run. Now, in Apex, we would do it without sharing, basically. Or, yeah, I think that'll work. That might not even work, actually. I feel like there's a way to do this. Picker order, resource picker. No, I don't see it anywhere on here. All right, I'm gonna search for it. Run flow Salesforce as system. Here we go. So these are official docs. I didn't see that. To open it, create a flow in Flow Builder. Okay, so click the gear, show advanced. Click the gear, show advanced. No. No.
Yeah, it looked like it was called How to Run Flow. Doesn't appear to be there.
Yeah, and it may be because I chose a record triggered flow that is not available. If the dropdown is available, you can't change the flow run context of this type of flow. Oh, here we go. Nope, it doesn't say. But that would probably be the way to get around this, is essentially, you know, decouple it, have a separate process, not running as the user.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that you do have to run in a couple of minutes here. Just
Yeah.
to recap and make sure that I will get this typed up correctly. The conclusion is that we can't do it with the validation rule because within the validation rule, we can't go outside that
Yeah.
team member object and evaluate the novelty of the account team.
I have another idea, and I know that you just said that I have to run, but I think there's another way to do it. So what I would do is create a new field on the account team member that's, you know, something like let's just call it a checkbox. Sure. No, we don't want it to be a checkbox. It has to be like a date time or something like that. And we'll put a formula. Will this work? Yeah, something like this could work. I think we might run into the same issue, but the idea would be we would not put this on the page layout. So we would make it difficult for the average user to fill this in. I'm gonna go ahead and just make it read only, or I'll move it like low. That's fine. I think
What was the formula you used?
I just did now. Sorry,
Okay.
I was going quickly. Yeah, so I just did now. It doesn't really matter. The point is, we're going to have a field that's going to be populated by the automation, but that the end user would not populate. And that's the key here. And so now I need to, let me just save this. And then I'm going to refresh because new fields won't show up automatically when I'm in a flow builder. Okay, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a field, and we're going to say right now equals now. Is that a system thing we can do? Origin, there we go. Sure, it doesn't really matter. So we'll do save as, save, and then activate. And then I'm going to come back to my validation rule. and I'm going to just say, this field can't be blank. That's all that really matters. I mean, we could have been a checkbox, could have been drop down. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and do this. Oh, I didn't want to save it. No, that's okay. And now, if I create a new account, it should work. So let's do this. Test 2, save. Oh, you can't add a team member to an existing account. You can look up. Okay, why did that happen? So did I save this? Thought I did. Let's do activate again. Let's just check the validation rule. Not is blank, right? So it should not be blank. Oh, is blank. We want it to be blank. Yeah. So it's going to be blank when a user is doing it. It's not going to be blank when an automation is doing it. That's what it was. I had it backwards. There we go. Okay. And if we scroll down on related, the account team is filled in. And then the key here would be if I go to add, let's say, someone else right now. Oh, well, that didn't work. Oh, I know why it didn't work. Okay, yeah.
Because you are still admin.
No, it's because I actually put that formula in here. I don't want the formula. I want the automation to fill it in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so let's do that real quick. I'll save that. And add team members. Let's do a different one. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I know you got to run. Just a quick recap. The idea here would be we add a field that nobody can see on the page layout. That field starts blank. While that field is blank, somebody can create a team member because they're going to create the thing. The flow is going to run as them. It'll create that team member and update the field to say not blank. Now, if the user tries to create a new team member, it's going to say, hey, that field is no longer blank. You're not allowed to do that. That's the goal.
Yes. Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. I think because I was already on there, it was editing instead of creating new. There we go. Yay!
Got it. Okay. Cool.
So that's, so a combination, basically adding one extra field. Ideally, we would hide that field on the page layout and then no one will ever see it. It's not the best security, but it will work for something like this. If they need much more security, then you're going to have to get it to run as the system, either with Apex or with Flow.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I know you need to run, but I will say thank you, Matt. And then feel free to hop off and I will go ahead and do the outro here solo. But thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. All right, and I want to thank everybody again for watching. This has been another session of Q&A with Matt K. Huge thanks to Matt for doing that again, and also sticking around a little bit over time there to finish up. And to recap for everybody at home, actually, let me go ahead and share my screen because I have been typing up our response as we were on the call. So the end result is, and I can make this a little bit bigger for everybody. The end result is that we can't do it with the validation rule because within that validation rule, we can't go outside the object for, that's the best way for me to describe it. The validation rule is looking at that team member object, but we want it to evaluate how new the account team is. And unfortunately, the validation rule is just not going to like that. So we came up with two approaches that might be better suited or would be better suited because they work, right? The first would be to have the automation not run as the user for whom the validation rule is saying, hey, you're not allowed to do that. And instead have it run as one of the users on that exclusion list. So system administrator SSO, system administrator, etc. Any of these folks where we said, hey, if the profile name is not this, don't let them do it. But if it is that, we're okay. Or simply run as the system. Or at the buzzer there, Matt came up with our second potential solution. Create a new field on that account team object, or on that account team member. No, sorry. Create a new field on the account team object called something like right now. And it's a date time field with a formula that just says, now. And then put it on the page layout. The field will start blank. And so we're going to update our validation rule so that it says, hey, if that field is blank, users can create an account team member. That way, I'm the user, I create the account team, the automation runs as me. It says, hey, I want to create a team member. And normally I wouldn't be allowed to do that, but because the field is currently blank, I am allowed. So the automation creates that team member and the automation updates that right now field with the current date and time. And now if our user goes back in to try to add an additional user, that field is no longer blank. The validation rule is going to fire. And the end result is we get the functionality that we want. So huge thanks to Matt. I'm going to go ahead and post this response to Talha here, and then I will get the video posted as well. I do want to remind folks, please like and subscribe to these videos. It does mean a lot to me. Personally, more than professionally, honestly. It's a good feeling to know that people are watching the work that we're doing. Also, if you have questions of your own, please head over to go.mkp.dev/Q&A. The form is super simple. There's a field to ask your question, and I think there's an optional field for your email in case you want me to send you an email that says, hey, we did it. Here's a link to the video. But if not, just fire the questions in there. Everything that your users ask you, ask us too. I want to see what you guys do. I want to see how we do it. So please do that. And then thank you, of course, for watching. And we will see you next time here on Q&A with Matt K. Bye.